For just about the last 6.5 years, we've been able to watch the man they call Luka Doncic. Not, I'm gonna trade you because you gained some weight, Luka Doncic, but this Luka Doncic. I think at this point it's pretty obvious that Luka is very good at basketball, and prior to the most shocking trade news in NBA history, we watched him develop into the bona fide superstar that the city of Dallas grew to love.
We went to the NBA Finals. Why are we trading the best player, the franchise player? How are we trading the franchise player? You went to the NBA Finals. He's supposed to have a statue. Hell yeah. He's supposed to have a statue.
In 2020, Luka was selected to his first All-Star game and named an All-Star starter for extra measure. But more importantly, the Dallas Mavericks made the playoffs for the first time in Luka's young career, and this would mark the birth of a postseason monster.
Back to Doncic. Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer! Slide, spin 360, block right, bang, shoots, scores and one! Doncic nails the three-pointer. Inside the three-point arc, takes him to the low box, hesitates, puts it up and in. He is something else.
For the first time, we were able to see Luka play in games that actually matter. And he did not disappoint, putting up a near 31-point triple-double average. Let me say that again, a near 31-point triple-double average in his first playoff series. Numbers that only a small percentage of players can achieve, and Luka did it at 21 years of age. But unfortunately for Dallas, the Mavericks weren't as good as their shining young star and would be eliminated in 6 games to the Los Angeles Clippers. But this was just the start. The next season, Luka would find himself on a very similar Mavericks team, a roster that was good enough to make the playoffs but not good enough to win anything in it. Just a team that's rolling around in the middle, with Luka Doncic single-handedly making them competitive.
First foul on Zubac, who now once again has to try to guard Luka, but it's not gonna happen.
Luka's born for it, man. He is born for the moment.
36 points, 10 assists, and 8 rebounds. Those are the averages that Luka put up in just his second playoff series in his career. And he did it at just 22 years old. He had entered the status of generational talent, an untouchable asset that would dominate the game for years to come. In 2022, the Mavericks finally started to see some signs of progression. Jalen Brunson was emerging as a rising star alongside Luka, and not only did it help them get past the first round for the first time, but they reached the Western Conference Finals. A very big step considering Luka had previously never even seen the second round. And Luka achieved it in the most Luka way possible.
27-point lead, down goes Johnson, three by Luka. Got it. Got clock at 4 and a step back.
It ain't right. It is not right what Luka is doing to the Phoenix Suns.
The Suns were the number 1 seed and just 2 games away from being NBA champions the previous season. But they never ran into Luka Doncic before, and Devin Booker suffered what will forever be known as the Luka Special. And as great as knocking out a team like the Suns was, this was essentially as far as they would go, because the eventual champs were their next opponent. The Mavericks would fall to the Warriors in 5 games, and changes for the Mavs were about to be made. The departure of Jalen Brunson appeared to be a lot more taxing than anticipated. But after a blockbuster trade, Kyrie Irving was coming in to fill that spot. The only problem was, Kyrie was only able to play 20 games due to injury. So the Mavericks were short of about 3 to 4 starters, and it resulted in an 11th seed finish to the season, meaning no playoffs and no postseason Luka magic. But the best for the Mavs was yet to come.
Doncic going to work, driving on Dort, ball away, it's gone! Doncic gives Dallas a 2-point lead.
Doncic fakes, bumps, fires, good! Luka will make a move, lets him rip. Doncic puts it in. 4-point Dallas lead. Doncic maneuvers for the lead. Got it! Got it! What a shot! Dallas has taken the lead.
The 2024 season was a special one, not only for Luka, but for the Mavericks as a franchise. What started out as just a middle-of-the-pack Dallas team turned into legitimate championship contenders. The first time Luka has ever had a team this good around him. And it showed because not only did they make the Western Conference Finals again, but they made it past there and reached the biggest stage in basketball, the NBA Finals. But the path the Mavericks took to get there wasn't an easy one. In the first round, the Mavs matched up with the one team that Luka for some reason just can't get away from in the postseason, which were the Los Angeles Clippers. But this time, Luka had the proper tools to succeed, and the Mavericks advanced to the second round. But the opponents weren't going to get any easier, because next up was the number 1 seeded young gun Thunder. And although the Thunder were still very young and didn't have any playoff experience, they were still the number 1 seed. But Luka and the Mavs did not care because they moved right past OKC and moved on to the Western Conference Finals for the second time in 3 years. But this time, they didn't run into the eventual champs. What they ran into was a title favorite. The Timberwolves actually looked like a solid team that could go on and get a potential title that year. They had scoring, size, and defense. Nearly everything that any serious playoff team is made of. Except they didn't have one thing. The duo of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. The backcourt stars showed just how unguardable the both of them are, leaving no doubt in anyone's mind that the Dallas Mavericks were destined to reach the finals. But this is where things started to descend. The Mavericks had met an opponent that was just better than they were, and Kyrie Irving essentially disappeared facing his former team, leaving Luka to fight the battle alone, which resulted in a trip back home in just 5 games. So where do the Mavs go from here? They go straight to free agency and acquire Klay Thompson in hopes of adding an offensive boost that was ultimately their downfall in the finals. But injury would strike the Dallas star duo for most of the season, resulting in yet another middle-of-the-pack level team. But you always had the ability to say, we just don't have Luka right now. Well, you had that ability.
We begin SportsCenter with breaking news and an absolute nuclear trade in the NBA. The Lakers have acquired 5-time first-team All-NBA superstar Luka Doncic in a blockbuster that sends 4-time first-team All-NBA superstar Anthony Davis to the Dallas Mavericks.
Not having Luka right now turned into not having Luka ever. On a random Saturday night, the Dallas Mavericks traded away their franchise superstar in his prime for a 31-year-old Anthony Davis, and nobody even knew about it. Not LeBron, not AD, not Jason Kidd, and of course, not Luka. The biggest blindside in NBA history had just flipped Luka Doncic's world upside down. He was now a Los Angeles Laker at the snap of Nico Harrison's fingers. A superstar in the prime of his career who had just led his team to the NBA Finals was shipped away just like that. And the NBA world will forever think about just how shocking this really was. But Luka's definitely out for revenge.